This is the final module in this logbook series. Please complete the online questions at the end of this module.
The length of this presentation is 17.5 minutes. Section D, Logbooks. Please follow in your study guide, on page 56. Who must fill in a logbook? You must complete a logbook if you drive in a cumulative work period, a vehicle that requires a Class 2, 3, 4 or 5 license, or is used in a transport service, other than a rental service, or is used in circumstances in which the vehicle must, or ought to be operated under Transport Service License, the TSL, or is used to carry goods for hire or reward, if that vehicle is a heavy motor vehicle. Logbooks. Please follow in your study guide, on pages 56 to 57. Employed drivers must use an approved logbook. There are two types of logbooks, general and small passenger service logbooks. Self-employed drivers can use a 2-page logbook, with no employer copy, the yellow page, white and pink copy only. The white page must remain in the logbook, as a record. Logbook employer copies, the yellow page, must be removed by the driver, at the end of a cumulative work period, or given to the employer within 14 days of being filled out, whichever comes first. Drivers must keep a record of rest and work time in their logbook for secondary employment, even if it is not related to a transport service. An example would be working in a restaurant. The bottom copy, the third or pink copy of a logbook pages, must remain in the logbook, unless removed by an enforcement officer. Logbooks. Please follow in your study guide, on pages 56 to 57. Drivers must produce on demand, to an enforcement officer without delay, a logbook record that relates back to their last 24-hour, continuous rest period. It must be kept until the next 24-hour break is taken, at the end of that cumulative work period. Drivers must carry their old logbook, until the new one shows a record of a continuous, 24-hour break. Logbooks must be kept for 12 months, after the last entry. Employers must keep fuel and accommodation receipts, time records, wage records, and other related employment records, for a period of 12 months from the date the record was made. Drivers must carry their logbook, it must be current, up to date, and the driver must be able to show any logbook that relates back to the day they had a break of at least 24 hours. Logbooks. Please follow in your study guide, on page 58. Who must a logbook be shown to? Drivers must obey the law, and produce their logbook to an enforcement officer immediately, when requested to do so. An enforcement officer includes any policeman, or person authorized by the Commissioner of Police, or other persons appointed by the NZTA. Logbooks. Please follow in your study guide, on pages 58 and 59. Logbook exemptions. Some drivers may be exempt from using logbooks, but may still be subject to work time restrictions. Exemptions can be put into 4 groups. A. Vehicle types: farm vehicles within a 50-kilometer radius of the farm, agricultural harvester, or self-propelled agricultural machinery, or tractor when driven less than 50 kilometers on a road in a day. Motorhomes and recreational vehicles requiring a Class 2 license, an example, a vehicle towing a boat, a vintage heavy motor vehicle, a special type vehicle, an example would be a bulldozer, a special purpose roadside management vehicles, an example would be a hedge trimmer, or mobile crane. A HIAB or similar is a truck-mounted crane, not a mobile crane, therefore is not exempt. B. Vehicle service: a goods service vehicles requiring a Class 1 or 2 license, used within a 50-kilometer radius of its base. Vehicle recovery: an example would be a tow truck, urban bus services, school buses, facilitated, and cost-sharing arrangements. Logbooks. Please follow in your study guide, on page 59. Logbook exemptions: some drivers may be exempt from using logbooks, but may still be subject to work time restrictions. C. By situation: off-road vehicles, aircraft refueling, vehicles under repair, being demonstrated, or under test, local authority vehicles, rubbish collection vehicles, services on Great Barrier, Stewart, and Chatham Islands. D. Drivers of emergency services, and Defence Force vehicles. Armed forces includes visiting Defence Forces, police, ambulance, and fire brigade. For more information, please refer to the appendix in the back of your study guide, from pages 103 to 107.
Logbooks, please follow in your study guide, on pages 59 and 60. Application for an exemption, in other situations or a personal exemption. Provided all conditions are met, the exemption is automatic, as per the previous slide. In any other circumstances, an exemption from maintaining a logbook must be made to the NZTA. If approved, documentation must be carried and produced on demand to an enforcement officer. Logbooks. Please follow in your study guide, on page 60. Breaking the law, the penalties that you may get. A driver commits an offence when they keep more than one logbook, make false statements, or leave out information, or fail to record work and rest correctly in their logbook. Produce a logbook which is false. Produce a logbook that is illegible. A driver can be fined up to $2,000 and may be disqualified for 1 month by the court. Courts can order drivers to attend an approved work time and logbook training course. Courts cannot issue demerit points. Enforcement officers may issue infringement notices, which carry fines and demerit points against the driver's license. Logbooks, please follow in your study guide, on page 61. Demerit points. The offence is in the left column, and in the right column is the fine and demerits for logbook violations. Firstly, 1 to 5 omissions examples could be things that have been left out of your logbook, such as PM. The fine is $150 fine and 10 demerit points. Second point, 6 to 10 omissions, $300 fine and 20 demerit points. Third point, 11 or more omissions, $500 fine and 30 demerit points. Fourth point, fail to produce a logbook, $500 fine and 35 demerit points. Demerit points go against your general driver's license. The consequences, or effects of ignoring the logbook rules and accumulating demerits are serious. 100 demerits in 2 years, and your license is suspended for 3 months. Ensure that you obey the rules.
Logbooks, please follow in your study guide, on page 61. Failing to carry out duties, regarding logbooks. A driver commits an offence if they do not keep their logbook for a period of 12 months, after the date of the last entry in that logbook. As an employee, do not give the employer's copy, or yellow page, of each completed logbook page to their employer within 14 days after completing that record. Do not carry a logbook with them when driving a vehicle, subject to work time requirements. Do not show on demand and without delay, to an enforcement officer, a logbook that relates back to the last 24-hour continuous period of rest time and any days since. Do not use an approved form of logbook. Drivers can be fined up to $2,000 and may be disqualified for 1 month or more by the court. If the court does not impose a period of disqualification, the driver may still incur demerit points against their license, depending on the offence. Logbooks, please follow in your study guide, on page 62. Remember the 3 C's. Drivers must correctly record work and rest times in their logbook. Carry their logbook and comply with work time restrictions. Logbooks, please follow in your study guide, on page 62. The chain of responsibility. The chain of responsibility recognizes that all people who influence driver behavior and compliance should and must be held accountable. This includes directors of companies. The maximum fine for persons convicted under the chain of responsibility is $25,000. Please refer to the appendix in the back of your study guide on page 102 for more information.
Please complete the self-check questions in your study guide from pages 67 to 70. If you get stuck, you can find the answers on pages 71 and 72. It would be better to try answering the questions first, before looking at the answers. This approach will help you memorize the information for possible questions in your final summative assessment, which is closed book. Logbooks, please follow in your study guide on pages 74 to 82. How to fill in your logbook. Driver name must be recorded as initials and surname, or first name and surname. Do not use nicknames. If it is a passenger service vehicle, the driver's unique identifier name must be on the cover as well. Entries recorded must be legible. Circle midnight or noon as it applies to the workday. The day's date, such as the 12/06/2024 or the 12th of June 2024. The activity grid must be filled in with one continuous line, horizontal and vertical, to show work and rest time. The activity grid is in 24 hours, 1-hour sections, each divided into 4 sections of 15 minutes blocks. Location remarks column must be filled in with a time, place, and mileage. Do not use abbreviations when recording place names. In designated cities, the suburb and city must be recorded. In towns, only record the town. It is not necessary to record the suburb. Use a blue or black ballpoint pen when filling in a logbook. Logbooks, please follow in your study guide from pages 74 to 82. How to fill in your logbook. Location remarks column is also used to record unavoidable delays. The cause of the delay, location, and length of the delay are to be recorded. Unavoidable delays are defined as circumstances that could not have been reasonably foreseen by the operator or driver, or an emergency. An emergency is defined as a state of emergency or an incident attended by an emergency service. An example could be fire, police, ambulance, or an event that requires immediate action to save a life or prevent injury. Registration number, or numbers of each vehicle driven on a day, must be recorded in your logbook. Distance column records the start and finish of days, work hubdometer or e-road readings if fitted, or speedo if no hubdometer fitted. Summary of hours. The bottom row of the logbook is not compulsory to fill in. It is an aid for drivers to keep track of cumulative hours in a cumulative work period. Logbooks, please follow in your study guide on pages 74 to 82. How to fill in a logbook. On workdays in a cumulative work period that you do not drive a vehicle that requires a logbook to be completed, the driver is only required to record the following: their name, the date or dates to which entries refer, the total number of hours worked, and a brief description of the nature of the work. When recording this information, more than one consecutive day may be entered on the same page. If you make a mistake in your logbook, do not remove the page, write cancelled across the page, and leave it in your logbook. Start the next page without a mistake.
Logbooks, please follow in your study guide on page 84. Summary. Driver's name must be on the cover. If it is a small passenger service vehicle, the driver's name or unique identifier must be on the cover as well. Entries recorded must be legible and accurate. Drivers must fill in the activity grid with a continuous line that shows periods of work and rest time. Drivers must circle midnight or noon to indicate the start time on each logbook page. Drivers must record start and finish times, locations for the period of work, and rest in the location remarks column. Drivers must complete the distance column for vehicles subject to road user charges and record the vehicle registration. Drivers who are delayed must record the cause, time of delay and location. Logbook example: some non-driving days. The example, on the adjacent page, shows a standard working day where a driver may perform duties other than driving. The driver completes the grid showing rest time, continuing from midnight on the 5th of December. The driver starts work time at 8 a.m. at Tirapa Hamilton, but is not driving. He is working in the yard or fixing the truck. No vehicle details are required. At 12 p.m., the driver takes a 1-hour rest break at T. Rapa Hamilton. At 1 p.m., the driver commences work time at T. Rapa Hamilton and commences driving as part of his work time duties. The driver enters the registration number and hubdometer of the vehicle. At 5 p.m., the driver finishes work time at T. Rapa Hamilton. The end hubdometer is recorded. The driver completes the grid to the end of the page. Logbook example of non-driving work days. If a person is required to complete a logbook, that logbook must be completed from the last 24-hour rest break and until the next 24-hour rest break. Details relating to a non-driving work day or consecutive non-driving work days can be combined onto a single separate logbook page. Details to be recorded for a non-driving work days must include the driver's name, the date or dates, the period worked from 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m., the total actual work time hours, an example, 8 hours, and a brief description of the type of work undertaken. Self-check. Use the blank logbook pages on pages 87 and 89 to complete this task. You could also make a few copies of these blank pages to practice more if you like, or if you make mistakes. Complete the self-check questions in your study guide from pages 85 to 89. If you get stuck, you can find the answers on pages 95 and 96. It would be better to try answering the questions first, before looking at the answers. This approach will help you to memorize the information for possible questions in your final summative assessment, which is closed book.
This is the end of the logbook modules. Please complete the online questions. Feel free to go through these presentations again to memorize the information for the in-class theory session and closed book assessment.
Please feel free to contact the Iveco Driver Academy for any questions or advice. See you soon.